All right, Sugar Sisters here in Palo Alto with the owner and founder of Pietisserie, Jaynelle St. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
We're so excited. We've been big fans for a long time. Obviously, you were just talking about that, and it's so nice to finally sit down with you. So we would love to know what inspired you to start Pietisserie.
Okay, well, so this was in 2010. I had been living in New York for a while. I'm originally a San Francisco girl.
Oh, okay.
And came home, was with my mom, and was like, I guess, at a crossroads and actually feeling kind of low. And I was like, well, what would make me feel good? What would make me feel happy? And I thought, I'm going to make some pies from scratch, and I'm going to give them away out of the window of my mom's house.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
And I served them on glass plates so people would stay there. And it's like, it wasn't a to-go experience.
Smart, yeah.
I dressed it up like a little country window.
I love that.
And I just thought, like, if I could do something that made me feel like I could be generous, that would also make me feel good. And a friend came and he said, you should start a pie business. And I had been thinking about starting a food business, but like a service-based business around food and lifestyle. I wasn't thinking product at all. And he kind of planted the seed in my mind, and I just ran with it.
That's awesome. What was the first pie that you made?
There were 3 different pies that I knew how to make. There was blueberry pear, and pecan and sweet potato.
Classics.
Well, the blueberry pear, it's funny because it's like, I haven't really offered that at Pietisserie that much, but I'm thinking about next year offering it because it's the pie that made me want to learn how to make pies.
Oh, yeah.
It's an amazing combination.
That's awesome.
Did you have a pear pie last year, or?
It's like, it's hard for me to remember, like,
Okay.
now when I did
Right,
what. And
yeah.
it's shown up a little bit, but
Yeah.
like never really, I haven't given it as much shine as it deserves.
Okay.
That's awesome. It's funny, actually, one of our questions was, what is your first memory of having a slice of pie?
My mom used to like to take us to Nations and get the custard pie.
Oh, yeah.
So that's an early memory.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I used to bake apple pies with my mom. She had a great apple pie recipe. She didn't do the crust from scratch. And so when I really got inspired to learn to make pies, my boyfriend's mom in high school taught me, and she made this blueberry pear pie, and it was like out of this world.
Wow.
And I was like, I gotta know how to do this. And she was like, sure, I can show you, like, no big deal, because she would just make pies for dessert after dinner, like, no big deal, from scratch.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
So like before that, I think I had a psychology where I was like, this is a really big deal, it's gonna be hard, I'm gonna mess it up,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it, and she just made it seem really approachable.
I love that, because I also feel that way about pie. I try to bake, and I feel like pie is the one thing. I've made 3 pies. There's been something wrong with all of them. I can't figure out pies. I'm really good with other stuff, but that's exactly how I feel about it. Yeah.
Have you ever had somebody who is a confident pie maker do pie making side by side with you?
No.
It's like, for me, I think pie is very easy if you have someone next to you to show you.
okay.
But to learn from a book or like
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
TV
Yeah.
is hard because it's tactile with the dough.
Oh,
The dough.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. The dough is so tricky.
That's
What's the process for you for making the patisserie menu?
Oh, process. I'm like the queen of no process.
Ah, I mean that's all. I mean, that's your that's
a
your
creative
way. Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your non-process?
I want to incorporate ingredients into pie that other people don't.
Yeah.
Unique.
Because, like I said, I only knew how to make 3 pies when I started, and so I felt like I could be really free. I didn't have any training,
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
like, well, what do I want to do with pie? So I think about colors. I think about ingredients that I'm interested in, and sometimes I think about desserts that I like and turning them into a pie. Like, that's where the chocolate cream pie and pretzel crust came from.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, I think those like flips dessert things, they became popular like 15 years ago or something.
The little like
chocolate covered
yeah.
pretzel.
Yeah.
And I remember like not thinking that would be good.
Yeah.
And then eating a whole day. And so that became a pie.
That's so funny.
Wow, that's awesome.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense because I feel like your pies are super creative. Like you're not going to go anywhere else and see like these types of pies and have these types of flavors. So that makes sense that your process is not this typical sort of like, I don't know, traditional, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. I'm definitely trying to give people a new perspective on pie.
I love
So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Love that.
Yeah.
So this might be like asking you who your favorite child is, but what is your favorite flavor of pie?
It is like that. But everybody has a favorite child.
Right? That's true. It's a secret.
Let's see. Okay. Black bottom walnut, we were just talking about. I love that pie. I initially didn't want to make pecan pie. Initially I was actually like really hardcore about not making certain pies. Like I didn't want to make pecan pie. I didn't want to make apple pie.
Yeah.
And so that's when the black bottom walnut pie came about, because I was like, well, pecan pie is too sweet.
Yeah.
And so incorporating walnuts into that changes it, because walnuts are more bitter than pecans, which are already kind of sweet on their own.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you get them really fresh like we do. They're really sweet. So that plus the chocolate layer inside, I think really rounds it out and makes it possibly my favorite pie. There's a few others, like the grapefruit
very
custard.
Oh my
so
God.
good.
That knocked my socks off too.
And maybe the pumpkin chocolate.
Another
Okay.
nice
like
twist
chocolate.
on the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, so I was in 6th grade, and my friend brought these cookies to school. They were pumpkin cookies with chocolate chips. And I asked for the recipe, and she and her mom refused to give me the recipe.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And my mom was like, okay. So, not being able to make those cookies, I turned it into a pie.
And you're probably selling a lot more of those pies
Yeah.
than they are of those cookies. So.
Yeah, where are your cookies now?
Decades later, my friend's mom is one of my biggest customers and fans.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. I never got the recipe though.
Still secret.
Oh my gosh. What's your proudest accomplishment so far? Pietisserie.
It's a hard question, but since we're here, I would say I'm really proud of this store.
Yeah.
I had a store in Oakland for 5 years, and it was so seasonal. So, there would be a line around the corner for Thanksgiving, all through December. And then in January and February, everybody's on a diet and a budget.
Oh, that diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it would just be dead. And I just felt like Pietisserie should be a seasonal store. It's great to come in and bring something special to people, and to come in with like full energy and like meeting people when they really want pies.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about it for a long time. And so the store closed during COVID, and I was at a point where I felt like something needed to shift. And then it wasn't really clear to me that this was going to open until, August.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not that long ago.
Yeah.
No. Now it exists.
Yeah.
And I feel really proud about that, because I've been
Yeah.
wanting to do it for a long time, and also I've been able to bring to life the pie mandala in the shop and explain to people.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
So cool.
Thank you. And I started that project on an airplane after the holidays last year, where I was just like decompressing. There's so much work to do, and I started this from a really creative perspective, and there's so much work to do, because sometimes there's no room for that, and all of the logistics and the practicality of everything just crowds that out.
Yeah.
So in a relaxed state, I just started brainstorming on this idea that now it's in the shop. So I feel really good about that.
Yeah, you
super cool.
should. Congrats. Yeah, I mean, the we were talking to your business partner, and he said that you guys had to put this together so quickly. It's beautiful in there. I mean, the aesthetic is so nice. Like, I mean, we love your branding, and it comes through so well in the shop, and it's just like so clean and nice. And
Thank you.
It doesn't, again, like, doesn't have this old sort of traditional, like, you know, the pie shop with the big case and all this, and you
like Marie calendars.
Yeah,
kind of
I
thing.
love the way that you set it up. And
Thank you so
gorgeous.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was actually going to ask you what made you choose Palo Alto as the location for this pop-up.
A couple things. We sell pies in Sagona's Market here. We sell pies at Bianchini's Market. A restaurant called Local Union 271 on University Avenue. Whole Foods carries 2 of our flavors, and they do really well down here. So I think we had some market evidence to indicate that this was kind of a pie town.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And I feel like this location gets a lot of foot traffic. And
It does. I mean, it's lovely. You
Yeah.
know? It's like there's a lot of neighboring businesses, around here that are really great. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. And what's your vision for the future of Pietisserie?
Well, it definitely includes more of these seasonal stores.
Nice.
A lot of people are like, is this a pop-up? Like, are you testing to see if you want to be
Yeah.
in Palo Alto long term? And I'm like, I want to be here repeatedly, but not
Not
like,
all year round.
Not long. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I was saying if this goes well, but it's going great.
Yeah.
We're looking at opening several more around the state
Awesome.
Wow.
next year.
Super cool.
Yeah, and then in between those times, offering our pies through Goldbelly for shipping.
Yes.
Select flavors at stores, and there's a couple other channels that we're looking at that I can't
Ooh.
talk about yet.
Ooh, so excited. You heard it here first, people.
Do you have any advice for any current or future Black founders in the bakery space for starting business? Or just any sort of advice around it?
So much. One of my go-tos is make sure you like doing the thing.
Ah,
Like,
That's a very good advice.
yeah.
get into it. Spend time actually doing the activities involved in operating the business before you, and then to add on to that, before you do things like create a website and print business cards and file for a business license, you know, like, do you like doing it, and like, can you get people to pay you money for it? You can figure out all those things before you just like kind of start doing those other sort of more official things.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes people like, it's a way of putting off the actual doing of it, is to like
Yeah.
deal with all of the things that make it official in a way. Like, people put that first, but that's really not what's first.
It's the core business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do it, and can you get people to give you money for it?
That's really sage advice. Love it. We had one more question. Who inspires you?
Oh. Julia Child?
Aw.
Kanye West? Alain de Botton? Those are some people. I feel like if you like have something that you want to make and you want to put out there, like, there's a few ways to do that, but like the primary way is business.
Yeah.
And so much of the focus is like on the entrepreneurship and on the business. Like, I guess like because of like the general culture, and like also I feel like, I don't know, it feels like a long-standing thing, like just part of the American culture, but
Right.
something about that, like entrepreneurship now, like being where we're at in the Bay Area, is
Right.
like so much focus on that.
Silicon Valley.
And like, I feel like a creative person who's trying to do something, who like is, and also needs to make a living, so therefore I have a business, but like the business part almost feels like the mandatory part,
Right.
and like not actually really the interesting part. And there's so many ways in which like it's sometimes like an impediment to the creativity.
Of course. Yeah.
And there's always like an orientation in the culture, I think, to if you're a creative person who's trying to grow a business, to like focus on the deficit.
Yeah.
Part of having a business is like you get really familiar with your shortcomings really quickly, but like there's an extra added element to that I've experienced, which is like I feel like nobody who's like really good at spreadsheets ever has somebody tell them that they need to be more creative. But when you're a creative person,
gosh, yeah.
100%.
everybody's always telling you like what you're not good at.
Right.
That's so true.
It's so true that like hit home for me right now.
Really
I
did.
would just say, like, to anybody who relates to that, to just like don't believe it, because people with different orientations and strengths need each other, and I just think that creative people are undervalued.
Yeah,
And
I
just don't
completely
believe it.
agree on that. Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah, and not just like creative people are undervalued, but like the work they do is undervalued. It's like, well, this isn't that important to society, and it's like, you know, we need the spreadsheets and we need all the boring stuff.
Or we have to over-engineer it, make it really process-driven.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm like, why? Like,
Yeah.
That's someone else's job.
Right. Or just, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like creativity and like that art and like whatever field it is, I feel like that's like actually what fuels people, even people who really don't realize it.
Innovation.
Yeah, and yeah, we just call it innovation now, but really that's just that creative spark that, you know, after like you're a young kid, no one is really helping you like blossom anymore or encouraging it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I feel like that's like that's like the warmth I feel like of society is like comes from that. And it's just one of those things that we're not we're not really helping grow, but yeah.
And I can also add that, like, I just grew up like really poor, and I also went to good schools, and like I had the opportunity to just do things that were a little bit more straight and narrow, that would have like definitely made me more money and like offered me more security.
Yeah.
Great.
And so I feel like for me there was an added layer to that, where it was like, do I really want to do this? Because I have this like trauma essentially from all this hardship, and it's like, do I really want to lean into this?
Yeah. You just described both of us.
Do I really want to lean into this creative endeavor?
Yeah.
And so like that's what I mean when I say don't believe it, because like if you have something in your heart that you want to put out into the world, then that's what you should do.
This has
That's
turned
so
into a
beautiful.
therapy session.
I'm like,
I know, I'm like,
that,
I'm like,
that was
oh
really
my
nice. That
Wow.
was really beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Seriously. Thank you so much.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
wow.
Yeah.
This was even more inspiring than
I know.
I thought it could ever be. Thank you so much. I'm like, I wish I was in the pandemic. I could give you a really big hug.
All right.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
Yeah,
Seriously.
thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. For the love of pie.
For the love of pie.